So, what does a 60-year-old married man know about being alone when you're 60 and older? Well, two things. First, my aunt passed away at age 92, but for most of her 60s, 70s, and beyond, she was single. The other thing is, I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years, and I've helped dozens, if not 100, single people in their 60s. So, these are the things that I've observed. And the very first one is as a financial advisor, some of my clients that had the most fun were the ones that were single in their 60s. So it can be a wonderful period of your life. It can be a wonderful time. You have the flexibility, you've worked hard, you have your resources that you can control. And like I said, some of my most interesting, fun-loving clients, were single, and were single because they wanted to be, and they really had a lot of fun. So look forward to having a lot of fun. Okay, the other thing out there is, the other item is that there are lots of other folks that are single in their 60s. Some people are single because they've been widowed. Some people are single because they've been divorced. Some people are single because they've never gotten married. But the fastest growing population for divorce in most of the United States, for most demographics, divorce rates are coming down, except for people over 50. They call it silver divorce. And unfortunately, that number is going up, and it's going up quite a bit. So you're not alone. If you want to be with other people, and that's your decision, if you want to be with other people, there are lots of other married folks to be with, but there's also lots of other single people to be with. Okay, the next one is um, just, one of the big benefits of being alone is you have control. And if you like to travel, I like to travel. And frankly, most of my trips I do solo. I'm married. I'm happily married. My wife and I enjoy spending time together. But I like to go to a country for a month and just hang out in that country, not necessarily do touristy things, but just feel what it's like to live in that country. And that takes a lot of time, and right now, it's not one of my wife's passions, so I do that alone, and boy, it just opens a lot of doors for you. You have total control as to where you go, when you go there. The challenge, of course, when you go somewhere as a couple is there's a lot of compromises that can be made, so take advantage of the control, take advantage of the flexibility that you have. You can, sign up for services to find out where there's inexpensive flights, and okay, in 2 weeks there's an inexpensive flight going somewhere, and you can go. And this is whether you're retired or you're not retired. The reality is over half of all Americans don't use all of our vacation, and we are one of the most vacation-deprived countries in the developed world, so we have very little vacation compared to, most parts of the country, so be sure to use your vacation. Okay, the next thing is, and on a, more serious note, it's super important if you're alone and you're in your 60s that you prepare and financially where you are and what your finances look like. And one of the reasons for this is it's more expensive on a per person basis for one person living alone than it is for two people splitting those costs. So it's important for all of us to have a plan. It's even more important if you're in your 60s and you're alone to have a financial plan, to know where you're at, to know how close you are to financial independence if you have not retired yet. If you have retired, to know how much you can comfortably spend a year. And you don't want to put your future at jeopardy, but you also don't want to be unnecessarily sacrificing. Maybe you could be spending more and doing more trips and doing more things. And you'd hate to find out in your 80s that you could have been doing more in your 60s. So I urge you to consider working with a fiduciary financial advisor. Mea culpa, that's what I did before I retired. I don't do that anymore. But I do know that a large percentage of my viewers are never gonna work with a financial advisor. It can be expensive, you wanna do it yourself. You'd rather not hand over that to somebody else, which are all legitimate reasons. If that's you, I urge it to not use Excel, to not use Google Sheets, but to use software that's designed to help you do your own plan. The software I like is called Bolden, used to be called New Retirement. You can find a description to the link. I'm sorry, you can find the link in the description to this video, and you'll be supporting the channel if you do. This video is not sponsored by them, but I am an affiliate. Okay, let's keep going. The next one is, thinking through, like in my aunt's case, she did not have any kids. So thinking through, who's going to be there to help as you get older, as you may need more help in your daily living. Is there somebody in your life, an adult child? Is there a niece, a nephew? Uh, and if there's not, really think carefully about long-term care insurance. I'm not licensed to sell long-term care insurance. I don't want to be licensed to sell it, but it should be on your radar screen. If you have adult children that might be able to help you, if you have family members that might be able to help you, considering long-term care insurance is always important. But even more important, I think, if you don't have those people in your life. So think through that before you need help. And if you're in your 60s, you've got time, hopefully, which brings me to my next point, which is just the importance of staying fit and staying healthy. So many of us are optimizing on our bank accounts or optimizing on other things. And I just want your health to be one of the things you're optimizing for. I'm not a physician. This isn't physical advice. This isn't doctor's advice. It's also not financial advice. I don't know your situation, but I do know that once people in their 60s, 70s, or any age lose their health, then, your health is much more important than your wealth. There's always ways to make additional money, but once we lose our health, there's often few ways to get that back as we age. Same thing with time. Once we've lost the time, that time is lost forever. Okay, the next one is just the importance of not isolating. I love time by myself. I also love being married. I also love spending time with my friends, but I do love time by myself. So one of the things I have to be careful is I don't allow myself to isolate myself, that I'm constantly surrounding myself with other people. And if you're single, if you're alone in your 60s, I think it's even more important, if I can say that, for you to be constantly thinking about, how do you avoid becoming isolated? One thing to think about is an over 55 community. That might be something worth considering. It's not without its drawbacks, but it might be worth something considering, where you have other people in your age group, other people where it's easier to socialize. And then the next one is um, Social Security. That's probably going to be one of your biggest decisions when you take Social Security. And making that decision wisely is really important. If you take it before your full retirement age, you're going to get a smaller check. For instance, if your full retirement age is 67, if you take your Social Security at 62, you're going to get 70% of the monthly check that you would have gotten when you were 67. And if you wait until 70 for each year past your full retirement age until 70, the amount in your monthly check is going to increase by 8%. So the range is pretty big. It's all the way down from 70% of your full retirement age to 100% of your full retirement age, and then it maxes out at 124%. So getting that right is really important, and that's why I made this video over here, which talks about, the title is 30 years working at Social Security. This is the age you should file at. It's super important for you, so I hope you watch that video, and thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.